What's up, guys? This is part two to me talking about playing for churches. This is just my opinion, me talking, giving my opinion. I'm not speaking for you. If you want to say something, start your own podcast. This is my podcast. This is called Puff and Rant. You want to hear what I got to say? Come on in. So how is the process? Is it a picture of the puff or how you do it? The last time we left off, I was talking about how little what we get paid to play for a church actually is. I was saying $450. It's only $23,400 for the year. And that doesn't include getting taxed. I'm not an expert on how churches go about taxing you. At one point, you used to have to fill out a W-2. Now they're talking the 1099 is hiring you as an independent contractor. I don't know how that goes. Just be aware that you may have to pay taxes on that little bit of money that you get. Can you imagine paying taxes on $23,000? Better yet, if you get, most musicians get $150 to play at a church. You know how much $150 is for an entire year? $7,800. Imagine paying taxes on that. I know cats that play for a church for $75 a Sunday. You do what you got to do. But the premise of this is to ask you got to ask yourself this question: is it worth it? That's the question you got to ask yourself. For me, the answer is no. Too much. Too much sitting at my desk at YouTube hitting the rewind button to learn these intricate songs. I got tired of it. It was more frustration than fun. And once it gets to that point, you got to move on and do something else because you can't do it just for that. You know, if you do it, you getting paid, you got to pay your bills. You do what you got to do. But you want to make sure you're happy. Happiness is everything. But then comes the part about musicians. We never talk about having not just health insurance, but life insurance. This ain't exactly breaking news, but one day we're gonna die. And that's a business, costly business. Do you have life insurance? And I don't think you guys understand, you don't need to have $1 million policy. If you can afford that, then that's what you get. All you really need is about $30,000 to bury yourself and take that burden off your loved ones. If your loved ones don't have to spend $30,000, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And a policy for $30,000 is not going to cost you a lot of money per month. You should really look into that. Having a $30,000 life insurance policy is a good thing. It beats saying you don't have nothing. Like I said, if you can afford 50, you can afford 75, you can afford 100, do that. But you got to have something, and you got to have some kind of health insurance. Because a lot of you guys, we never talk about these things. We never talk about health. We never talk about mental. All that stuff matters. A lot of you haven't been to the doctor in years. You don't know your numbers. You got to know what's going on in your body. Even if you're young. And when you get older, you better know what's going on in your body. Especially if you're 50 and above, you got to start getting those colonoscopies. You got to start knowing your PSA. You know what that means? Prostate-specific antigen. You got to check your prostate. If they have to use their finger, you let them use their finger. You want to know what's going on. Prostate cancer is very treatable if caught early. A lot of cancers are treatable if caught early. Colonoscopies, all that stuff. You want to know your diet. You want to know if your sugar is too high, if you're diabetic, if you're pre-diabetic. You want to know about your cholesterol. You want to know about your blood pressure. Blood pressure is very important. A lot of times you get headaches, and it's because your pressure is high. And all of that stuff, if you keep getting those headaches, that's the pressure in your body, pressure on your heart, pressure on your arteries, and that's when you start having strokes or heart attacks. And you don't want that. A lot of us are stressed out. Life is hard, it's challenging. Of course, I have my challenges, I have my ups and downs. Life is a series of ups and downs. But one thing you don't want to just do is just say, God, heal me, when you didn't try to keep yourself healed. A lot of times people get sick, Christians get sick, and then they just rely on being touched by a pastor. Sometimes that's not going to work. If it's God's will, you could have prevented that. Like I said, prostate cancer is very treatable, of course, early if you know your numbers. And remember, diabetes could take you out of here too. Diabetes is debilitating. Going on dialysis a whole bunch of times just per week changes your life. A stroke changes your life forever. You may never recover. Heart attacks. Some people have heart attacks and it causes them to lose their memory. They don't even know who they are. They don't know who their loved ones are anymore. I've seen it happen. Little heart attack caused all of that damage. Person never recovered and eventually passed away. But all musicians want to talk about, we just want to talk about music, girls, and being in the studio. Everybody's doing good. Everybody's chilling. That's bullshit. That's just a bunch of arrogant dudes trying to make it look like they're doing good. You get musicians in the room and they're honest, you'd be shocked how many are struggling in life. Like I said in another episode, a lot of musicians getting divorced. That's a hard pill to swallow. A lot of musicians are struggling with their health. A lot of musicians are struggling with their mental health. A lot of musicians are struggling financially. But when they get in that room with musicians, nobody talks about that. And you keep that pain inside of you. That's never a good thing. We got to get together and start talking that real talk. Because I know for a fact a lot of you out there struggling. And you get on the gram and Facebook, everything is good. You know, everything good, right? You good, right? Everything is not good with anybody. I don't care if they have $75 billion. They got some kind of serious problems going on. Just money ain't one of them. I know everybody want to be a popular musician. All that stuff is overrated. It means nothing. You want to make sure your life is right. You want to make sure you're happy. Happiness is everything. Everything. And getting back to the church stuff, I mean, where are we going with gospel right now? I asked a very interesting question. If you took all the CCM out right now, if you was just left with the music of the last 10 years, would that still make gospel great again? Just a question. You have to answer it. Because we want choir music to come back. You can't just blame CCM. It just seems the gospel is so different now. I know we're in a different era, different musicians, but it's just so different. Every era is different, but the creativity just seems to be going everywhere. Creativity is such a hard thing to come by these days. And if you think about it, there's so many talented musicians on the earth. So many guys walk around like they're God's gift to their instrument. But yet and still, why is music still mediocre? If that's the case, creativity is taking a break in the world. It's going to come back. But right now, it's just, you telling me all these talented musicians in this world and music is still mediocre? That's a problem. That's something that we need to talk about. That's why I'm thinking that creativity is just taking a break. And the people that are creating and putting out independent music, no one cares. No one listens. No one respects it. I think one of the biggest problems today with music is the cell phone and social media. People don't seem to care about music like they once did in my generation. We loved it. We took my musicians I grew up with. We took time to sit and listen to it, listen to the records, start to finish. Dissected it, every instrument, every part. That's how we learned. That's how we shed it. And then we applied it to our instruments, to our own playing. But now it's just different, man. People just want to be caught up on the latest gossip on Facebook, the latest mess going around, the latest challenge. It's just, I don't see what you guys get out of that. Well, how is that benefiting you musically? Are you getting any better from that? Shedding and just doing a bunch of stuff that you ain't gonna never do on the record? Listen, time is not on anybody's side. And you better stop wasting time, because we ain't never gonna get time back. You're gonna get older and you're gonna wish what you would have done 10, 15 years ago. I do it. It's part of life. But you don't want to have those major regrets. You don't want to have those major regrets. You know, my mother passed away last year. And I tell the story a lot. And she would always tell me about 2 years before she passed, about her regrets in life and the things that she truly wanted to do, but she didn't, because she was just taking care of my father, standing by him as he was the pastor. But those things bothered her right up to her death, things that she wanted to do but never did. So that's why I know for a fact, regrets that tear you up. You don't want that to happen. There's other things in life besides music. Remember that. Don't put everything you got into music. We love music, but does music love us back? Does music show us the love that we looking for back? Sometimes we're looking for something that we ain't gonna never get. With music and in a relationship, it's the same type of analogy. I love music, but it ain't paying me no money and I'm struggling. So that means it's time to do something different. You gotta know when to pivot. All right, guys. I'm gonna finish this stick and chill. Thanks for tuning in to the Reggie Parker Show, Puffin' Rants. I'm gonna have a couple of more of these. Peace and love, no matter what life throws at you. Never lose your swagger.